GPS doesn't find you, but you find it. Global Positioning System is a network of around 30 satellites, a receiver, and a super accurate clock, all pulled together with math. The system was created in the 1980s for the military, but they opened it for civilian use, and it has since changed how we find directions, look for tacos, and connect with each other, but how it works requires a ton of incredible science. Firstly, we have to know what time it is. If you don't have a super accurate measure of time, you can't do GPS. The most accurate measure of time humans have is a constant, predictable vibration of an atom. The U.S. Naval Observation in Washington, D.C. is the official United States time. They mark time by measuring billions of seconds using 9,192,631,770 electron vibrations of a cesium-133 atom. This atomic clock is accurate to nanoseconds. As of 2015, there were 31 GPS satellites with 3 atomic clocks on board, as well as transmitters to send microwave signals out of the planet below. The system is flying at 11,000 kilometers an hour, about 20,000 above our heads by the U.S. Air Force. To sum this all up, the atomic clock uses cesium-133 because with the equation of change in energy equals Planck's constant times frequency of the atom allows for precise measurement.
Yes, science, bitch!
Whenever you are on the planet, at least 4 GPS satellites are visible at any time. Each one transmits information about its position and the current time at regular intervals. These signals traveling at the speed of light are intercepted by your GPS receiver, which calculates how far away each satellite is based on how long it took for the messages to arrive. Once it has information on how far away at least 3 satellites are, your GPS receiver can pinpoint your location using a process called triangulate. Imagine you are staying somewhere on Earth with 3 satellites in the sky above you. If you know how far you are away from satellite A, then you know you must be located somewhere on the red circle. If you do the same for satellite B and C, you can work out your location by seeing where the 3 circles intersect. This is just what your GPS does. Although it uses overlapping spheres rather than circles, the more GPS satellites there are above the horizon, the more accurately your GPS unit can determine where you are.
Yes, science!
So, as satellites in the sky help you triangulate your location here on the Earth, so can our terrestrial satellites here on the Earth triangulate where you are with your cell phone. Now, there's 2 distinctive different forms of GPSs that we use from day-to-day basis. We have GPS and AGPS. The A in AGPS stands for Assisted Global Positioning System. Now, that means that our cell phones uses a form of AGPS. It uses the cell phone towers around us, that is the terrestrial cell phone towers I mentioned earlier. Those things help assist us to reach the satellites a lot quicker, a lot faster. While SatNav or satellite global positioning systems take several more minutes to determine the location because it takes longer to establish connection with the other 4 satellites in the sky, and less so or more so depending on the clear weather. Another difference that we see is that it costs money to use assisted global positioning systems because you need a cell phone tower use. Rather, GPSs is, aside from the initial cost of the device, using satellites to determine location is free of use. Now, if there isn't any way to connect to your assisted GPS system because of lack of a satellite tower, there is a way for you to connect to GPS regardless. This is a requirement most phone carriers have, is the enhanced 911 requirement. And this is very peculiar because while you are able to contact 911, apparently many mobile companies have disabled the option for you to use this form of tracking device. Now, this is a case of matter of debate and a lot of speculation, which ranges from carriers having purposely disabled this feature to the APIs, or Application Program Interface, or maybe even a combination that APIs are not ready either. A common excuse used by carriers because they need an internal antenna plexed chip in order to gain satellite signal. Although you can see this easily cheap Plex device on standard flip phones from the past. But back to the topic of terrestrial cell phone towers, as this argument is neither here nor there. Since there is a constant communication between your phone and the cell phone tower in itself acts as, let's say, a satellite in the sky. It determines a sector where you're at, and it could pinpoint to your location of where it's getting received the signal from. So, with this in mind, cell phone companies have been able to track you long before you had the ability to track yourself. This, of course, is highly inaccurate, as it's only using 1 to 2 satellite towers to try to triangulate where you're at. As we noted earlier, it takes up to 4 satellites to perfectly triangulate where you are. So, I say this. As long as you are nearby another cell phone, as long as you're nearby something that's connected to the internet, satellite, or cell tower, anybody could track you, and you can be tracked by anything.
With half the city feeding you sonar, you can image all of Gotham. This is wrong.
Not right now. It's very normal to begin to feel an ominous and foreboding future and feeling. But I, for one, welcome our new Russian overlords, as should everyone else. Better red than dead, some people say.
Okay, now we're going to talk about GPS and GPRS. Let's go. Let's start off with the meaning behind the terms. GPS stands for Global Positioning System, which works by connecting with satellites out in space. GPS is normally used for guided navigation off roads, streets, and terrains. It works anywhere in the world, even if you're in the middle of nowhere, provided your GPS device is fully charged. On the other hand, GPRS stands for General Packet Data Service. GPRS is used for internet packet data for mobile devices. Now we're going to learn about their primary functions. GPS is mainly used for real-time navigation. Say you want to get from point A to point B. A GPS device connects with satellites in space and guides you to your destination in real time so you never get lost. GPS can also be used as a communication device, such as a GPS mobile phone, which can work anywhere in the world, even in the middle of nowhere, since it uses satellites in space for communications. In other hands, GPRS was being used by people for surfing on the internet using mobile devices, but was soon replaced by 3G, which is significantly faster than GPRS. However, GPRS is still popular in third world countries, which have not yet made the switch to 3G or where 3G packets are too expensive. Now we're going to learn about the pros and cons. GPS is one of the most sophisticated technologies in the world. Since it needs no towers, unlike a cell phone, it can be used from anywhere in the world. However, GPS does not work indoors, for example, buildings or homes, since it uses its own signal power to reach the satellites in space. GPRS is a cheap and affordable way to surf the net using a mobile device. It works great indoors and outdoors, providing you with a cellular network of towers. But on the downside, it is very slow. Now let's summarize what we have learned. Technology has many confusing terms that some people have a hard time keeping track of. A couple of the most confusing terms are GPRS and GPS, which people often confuse. GPS stands for Global Positioning System, while GPRS means General Packet Data Service. They are similar sounding, but have completely different functions.
Conclusion. You're both equally mercurial, overly sensitive, clingy, hysterical bird brain homunculi. And I honestly can't even tell the two of you apart half the time because I don't go by height or age, I go by amount of pain in my ass, which makes you both identical. Alright, everything resolved? Everybody nice and certain about their position in my world?
GPS is used for communication as well as real-time guidance from point A to B, while GPRS is used for packet data service on mobile devices such as surfing the internet. GPS can work anywhere in the world but cannot work indoors. GPRS is a cheap and affordable way to surf the internet using a mobile device and works indoors.
Yeah, science, bitch!
The boys are always hard. I'm bored as hell, I wanna get ill, so went to a spot where my homeboys chill. Fellas out there making that dollar, pulled up in my 6'4" Impala. They greet me with a 40 and I start to drinking. From the 8-ball my breath starts stinking. Left my girl to rock that body before I left.